Hi, my name is Don Boldt, and welcome to the 10-Minute Parent. We'll be learning about biblical parenting. This is part two of a section of material on control versus influence, control and influence, because you actually at different times in your child's life will be responsible for raising that child or bringing them up using both of these powerful tools that God has given to us. And so this is, we're going to be continuing from the last session. If you haven't viewed the first one, I'm going to encourage you to go back and look at it. But just to recap that, just in a few words, there's a scripture, it's found in chapter 6 of Ephesians, verse 4, and it talks to fathers, and it says, "Don't provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and the instruction of the Lord." And that word discipline means to control with the use of the hands. That word instruction means to guide with the word of your mouth, okay? And so we're going to substitute a couple of words here just because they're a little bit more modern English. One is control, and the other one is influence. That, the use of the hands, that's control. The use of the word, that's influence. We're trying to become people of influence in the lives of our children as they mature. And there is a handout that goes with this, and we'll find ways of making that available on a couple of different blogs. One of them is the HCF, the Henrietta Christian Fellowship blog. If you just go on and search Henrietta Christian Fellowship, it'll bring up their blog, and you'll be able to get this handout online from that source. But anyways, I suggested last time that we needed to picture this as like a big chart, and you have a thing down the side that's like degrees of, how much of this, and then across here is time, and then we're going to put, but right about the center here, we're going to put about age 12, all right, and then we're going to look here and we say, look, we'll put a line here and say, look, when that child was born, you had a lot of control. When that child was 6 months old, 8 months old, oops, then they started walking. And you became much more aware that you were less in control than you used to be. And then they started talking, and then they started, going places that you weren't going to be there the whole time. And you start realizing that by about age 10 or 12, you pretty much lost control, if that was all you're planning on using to raise your child, all right? So God gave us this second thing, not just control, but also influence. Now, I will tell you this, control drops dramatically and automatically. All right, it is very, very hard for anybody to maintain control for very long in the life of a child. It's the level of force and fear that you have to instill in a child in order to still be in control of them as they grow older probably really isn't even healthy. All right, so you've got this other thing, but it doesn't increase automatically. Influence, okay? Does your child respond to the word of your mouth? All right, when you speak, do they obey? And again, going back to the beginning, when they were first born, you spoke, and they might not have really been that aware that you're even speaking to them. We know that they react to it, but as far as understanding it and being able to respond in something that would be called obedience, they're just not able. All right, so you have no influence. So over the course of time, you're going to build influence so that you don't end up with nothing with which to lead your child. So let's talk a little bit about control. Why is control important? Well, because there are parts of what your child is learning, such as right from wrong. All right, why is something right? Why is it wrong? All right, well, because you were taught it was right and wrong. At a child's age of 2 or 3 years old, they don't have the ability to understand the complex reasoning behind why things are right and wrong. They have to accept that it's right and wrong because you say so. All right, and so you have to be in control in order to convey this. Who's in charge here? All right, you walk into some homes and it's quite apparent the child's in charge. That's a mistake. All right, you as the parent need to be in charge. Sometimes you walk into homes and it's apparent that nobody's in charge, all right, that the parents have abdicated that place of responsibility to be in authority, because being in authority, especially to be in control, takes huge resources. The founders of America talking about the reason why it was important for people to have freedom and the laws that they were constructing, they said these laws are wholly inadequate to govern other than a God-fearing people. And one of the reasons they said that was because they said no government will ever have sufficient policing power to be able to control the people and make them be obedient. So, this idea that the people had a love for, or fear for, or reverence for God in their heart became hugely important if they're going to maintain these freedoms. Well, the same thing for your child. That you're going to be bringing them up to have this respect for God. Well, where are they going to have this model for respect for God? because you did the things that God does, which is that you exercise this level of control, and frankly, eventually that shifted over and you became more the leader than the controller. To understand some things here, let me just give you some definitions of words here for a minute. Discipline, this word that we're using, control, to describe. In the original language of the Bible, this is what it meant. The whole training and education of children, which relates to the cultivation of mind and morals. It employs for this purpose now commands and admonitions, now reproofs and punishment. It also includes the training and care of the body. Whatever in adults also cultivates the soul, especially by correcting mistakes and curbing passions. Instruction aims at increasing virtue. Now, that's a different word from this word instruction, which is purely admonition, exhortation, to place the thoughts, the feelings, and the will in the right place. Okay, so to understand that there's these two phases of life that your child is going to go through, and it's important for you to understand what phase you're in and make sure that you're doing the right things. Why is control important? Look back in the Bible, Eli's sons in 1 Samuel 3:13. He had rebellious sons, and the word says that Eli, he verbally corrected them, but he never took control. And the problem was that they were doing the wrong things that they were doing in a place that Eli really was in control. He had the authority to stop them and didn't. All right, and to understand that there are things that your children are doing, you have the authority to stop them. If you don't control the behavior of your children, well, the first thing you're going to notice is people stop inviting you over. But the greater problem is that you're raising children that eventually you're going to lose control of, and it's going to be disastrous. Okay, so another one. David had a rebellious son. Okay. And the Bible tells us that his father had never crossed him at any time by asking, "Why have you done this?" All right, and so again, even people like David, King David, a model in the scriptures, at times made mistakes in the way that they raised their children, and this gets pointed out. Just that, by the way, is from 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 6. Okay, so let's take a look at the purpose of control, which is to teach obedience and to teach the child self-control. See, for a season, what's going to happen is you're going to control them, all right? The goal isn't for you to be controlling them for the rest of your life. It's too much energy. You'll run out of energy. You'll run out of time. What you're trying to teach them is to control themselves in order to avoid your interventions, all right? And so just to give you this taste of what control is all about, we're going to get back to this subject and do a little bit more on what control is and how to exercise this with your children in our next video, which will be part 3. And so we'll see you next time.